Okay, I lose track of the weeks here. This is the first week inspection since I put the first super on. Remember last time I explained the idea of two hive bodies. You know, once the bees have the two hive bodies filled, that's where they live. That's where they pack off all the food, all the honey that they're going to eat. And in the wintertime, that's actually completely where they'll live. We put the first honey super on. That's a 6 3/4, I believe, inch box, as opposed to the 8.5 inch boxes that the hive bodies are in, with slightly shorter frames, and that's what they're collecting the honey in. Now we've got the honey that I can harvest. We have a queen excluder here that you'll see again when I take this apart, because I am going to look at not just what's going on in the honey super, but I'm going to look at what's going on in that hive box too, the one that's only been there for 3 weeks. We should have lots of capped pupa and potentially some uncapped pupa that have actually gone to the point of hatching already. It's about enough time since I put that second hive box on that we're going to have whole new generations of bees coming out. So let's take a look. The red bug running around here. You can go away. I noticed that they've been putting down a lot more propolis, so some of these things are stuck together more. When we look at the honey super, there's really not much activity going on. The prior hive, there actually was a fair bit of activity going on in there, but the prior hive, hive number 1, as I call that one, I think has a larger number of bees as well. So it doesn't surprise me too much that these guys are a little bit behind. It's only been a week, and they're still waiting to get that next generation of bees going. So I'm going to pry this off here. And just going to pick this box up, put it over here, get it out of the way. When I remove the honey super, what we have left is the screen there, the queen excluder, and then the first hive box, or rather the second hive box there. So, peel the queen excluder off here. Set that to the side. Alright, we got lots of business going on here. So, they are pretty packed in there. I'm going to actually move them a little bit here. Just see if I can get them to move down a bit. And the smoke just kind of confuses them, and so they run away from it. Doesn't hurt them in the long run, just kind of messes with their scent abilities for a day or so. Alright. Frame number 1 is packed with honey. They're not done yet. The cells are maybe 3/4 full and just starting to get dark. But both sides, and on this side you can actually see they've capped some of it off. But you can see how nice and dark that is. Here's frame 4. You can see on one side it's all honey, about the top half is capped off. On the other side, it's honey on the upper area, but that lower and middle is actually all larvae, and I wish you guys could see that on the video. I have multiple ages of larvae, which means the queen has been doing her rounds laying eggs in these over time. And the larvae, of course, get larger as they get older, so you can kind of see the progression of age. Some capped cells, there, a few in there are already pupating. There we go. So this is frame 5. And here you can see that brown, that's all capped off pupa. So, won't be long, and those are going to be new bees. In fact, there are some uncapped cells already, so I've already got some new ones flying around. And the queen will come back up here now and put fresh eggs in those uncapped holes as soon as the workers have cleaned them up, gotten them ready for her. And the cycle goes on. I suspect this last one's going to be pretty much all honey. Yep, all honey on this side. And all honey on this side, in fact. Not only all honey, but almost all capped off. Just the only stuff that isn't capped is right on the bottom there. So again, this one probably weighs several pounds. Let's see. Ooh, almost 7 pounds. That were 7 pounds. That were one I was going to harvest. Maybe several pints of honey. All right, put it back together. The bees hanging off the corner there. Put this one in really slowly. Give them time to move out of the way. There we go. Perfect. Now, excluders next. And our super. Our hive lid again. We're all done again. So here's an interesting phenomenon. This is hive number 1, and you can see all the bees collected on the front of it. They're not swarming, which was my first thought, because it's only the first year and they had plenty of room. In fact, they started doing this when they had an empty second box. What this is what happens when the hive gets too hot. It has been pretty warm, up in the 90s the last couple of days, with not terrible humidity, but 50% humidity or so. And you know, the bees, the way they cool their hive is they bring water in. Bees go out, forager bees go out, they bring water in, they spread it around on the wax, and then they all beat their wings in one direction to draw air from the bottom up through the top of the hive to create ventilation. And then of course the water evaporating cools the wax and they cool their hive. But if there are too many bees inside, of course the bees just being in there produce heat as well. So what these guys are doing is they're actually kicking their excess bees outside, the ones that aren't foraging and the ones that aren't actually needed for housekeeping at the moment, and they're just pushing them outside so that they're not increasing the heat in the house. And what I see at night as the sun goes down, as the temperature cools, the number of bees out there will get fewer and fewer. If it stays in the 80s overnight, then I'll get up in the morning and there'll actually still be bees on the front of the box here. So it's just their own little way of thermoregulation.